versus religion? Which should be taught in the classroom?
In 1928, the Arkansas legislature passed a law prohibiting teachers from teaching Darwin's theory of evolution, their reasoning being that it contradicted the Bible. At the time, 84% of the population was Christian, so this law didn't have a lot of controversy. But in the 1960s, Susan Epperson decided to take a stand.
Epperson was a biology teacher at Little Rock Central High School in Arkansas, and in 1968 she decided to take her problem to the Pulaski County Chancery Court, saying that it violated her First Amendment rights of freedom of speech and religion.
Now we're going to interview some of our biology teachers here at Conway Junior High School.
Do you agree with Epperson or the state in this issue?
Hold on. Epperson was the teacher?
Mm-hmm.
I agree with Epperson.
Can you say more?
Yes, so being a science teacher, it is good to always know all the facts or observations and evidence. Okay, even if you don't agree with said facts and evidence, knowing what they are only can help you build your own case, either for or against it.
Have you ever had kids try and tell you what you were teaching was wrong?
I have not, because I have always presented the information in that format that is always up to the student to make their final judgment.
As Mr. Mill says, he teaches it, then lets the students form their own opinions. And it is always important to have all the information before making a decision.
Remember that there are other viewpoints besides yours. Thinking that you can limit children's education based on one religion in a country where freedom of religion is the foundation on which it started is wrong. So, do you think that religion and Darwin's theory of evolution contradict each other?
I don't.
They can coexist?
I think so.
Yeah, that's good. So should schools have any religious preference whatsoever?
No.
That's good.
Because this is why. Because as a Christian person, I would want my kids to be exposed to Christian principles. But if I was a Buddhist person, I would want my children to be exposed to Buddhist principles. And if I was an Islamic person, I would want my kids to be exposed to Islamic principles. And to single one out over the others makes it no longer a public school system for all of the children, but only a comfortable, safe place for certain ones.
I think Ms. Mayhew is entirely right. A public school should be a place where students of all religious backgrounds feel welcome. And by only listening to one, that goes against our Constitution when you're teaching religion in science class.
Right. If you would like your child's education to be based off religion, send them to a private school or homeschool them.
Exactly.
And so you're not forcing beliefs on others.
Yeah, I know a lot of people that are homeschooled or go to private schools because religion, and I think that's fine. I think that's a great thing for them.
Do you think religion and evolution contradict each other?
It depends on how you look at it. There is strong evidence that shows macroevolution happens. The microevolution happens. Macroevolution is where things get more difficult about how everything developed in the beginning of time. That is 100% somehow be what you believe in and what religious stance you take.
So I like what Mr. Null said about microevolution. And if you don't know what that is, that's basically evolution that we can see in our lifetime.
Yeah, it takes short-term effect.
Yeah. So I guess an example would be bugs becoming immune to pesticides. In our lifetime, we have seen many pesticides kill a lot of bugs, but then some of them have this mutation that allows them to become immune to the pesticides. And those bugs survive, reproduce, and then most of the bugs are immune to pesticide. So
Yeah.
basically, microevolution, there's cold hard evidence for that.
Yeah.
So it doesn't even matter if we had freedom of religion in this country or not.
Yeah.
We should be able to teach microevolution at the very least.
Yeah.
Now, macroevolution, he also mentioned that, how it depends, really, on what your spiritual beliefs are.
Yeah. It takes more long-term effects. It's harder to like find concrete evidence.
Yeah. It's harder to say that we all evolved from one organism than it is to say, hey, these bugs, they changed. Alright, so let's get back to this case.
Yeah.
Susan Epperson. So, how much did you say that a teacher was fined?
$500. Like, imagine that impact on a teacher's salary.
For teaching evolution. $500.
Yeah.
And this is in the 1960s, not now. So $500 is worth way more. It's
Okay.
still a substantial amount
Yeah.
today. But back then, that would probably mean going hungry.
Yeah, like imagine going to Walmart, like getting food for just dinner. That's like $50 to $100 alone.
Exactly. Anyways, I think it's ridiculous
Yeah.
that they're saying that you can't teach something that there is known evidence for.
Yeah.
And this evidence does not contradict the Bible whatsoever. Like embryology, that
Yeah.
doesn't.
Like-
That's just study of embryos.
And the structures.
Homologous structures, yeah, like my arm and my cat's leg
Yeah.
are the same, the exact same bones in the exact same places, just have slightly different functions.
And then like fossils
The fossil record, yeah.
and biogeography.
Yeah, all evidence for evolution.
Concrete structured evidence.
Alright, so now let's talk about maybe impact of this case.
Yeah.
So, a lot of people came over to America because of freedom of religion. They wanted to get away from their country's religion being enforced on them, and they wanted to be free to be themselves here. And I think it would be wrong for America to start enforcing a particular religion if we were founded on the freedom
Yeah.
of religion, like we talked about earlier.
We want more people to stay in our country, not to move because they're having religion forced on them.
Yeah. And remember how I said earlier that 84% of the population in the 1920s was Christian?
Yeah.
Well, that's gone down to today, 2025, it's 62%.
And then imagine like all the little religions. Like,
Little populations
Yeah.
and religions stuff, yeah?
and like
How-
1% Hindu or whatever.
Yeah. So 62%, it seems like a lot because it's more than half of the US. But that still leaves that other 38%
Yeah.
that's being discriminated against if we follow Christianity is the main religion of this
Yeah.
country. If we exclude all the other religions in this country, 38% of the population is going to be unhappy.
Yeah. And like imagine you got ahead because you were like, oh, I want to learn about evolution, and I heard you learned about that in biology. So you purposely pick your classes so you can be in biology and learn about that, and then you find out, oh, they can't teach that because it goes against Christian beliefs.
Yes. So it's awesome that
Yeah.
Epperson won her case.
Yeah.
She brought it to the Supreme Court, like Kate said earlier.
Yeah.
And the Supreme Court, they were like, hey, yeah, your rights totally are being violated, sister. Her First Amendment rights, specifically. I think it's important that they're first in our Bill of Rights.
Yeah.
I think
That's an important like
Yeah,
right to have.
I think freedom of religion and freedom of speech were so down to the core of the U.S.
that they were
that's what they needed to be first. So yeah, Epperson won her case, so we are free to learn Darwin's theory of evolution, which
is our current unit in
Yeah,
biology. If
I
you're
bet
in
you guys
biology.
know all about that. So yeah, Thank you, Epperson.